Hey, I'm Pepper Rodgers, here with a lesson for acoustic guitar on using smart chord fingerings. You know, if you've ever watched guitarist fingers at a jam session, you'll quickly see that there's no universal way to do something as simple as hold down an open position G chord. You might see one person playing a G like this, with their middle, index, and ring fingers, while the next person may be holding a G like this, with the ring, middle, and pinky fingers. And maybe another person's playing it this way, with 4 fingers, with the middle, index, ring, and pinky. So you may wonder which is the best way to finger an open position G chord. The answer really is it depends. It depends on what comes before it and what you're playing after it. So let's look at a few examples. First, here's a little progression from G to C and back to G again. And I'm going to start by playing it with this G fingering with my middle, index, and ring fingers. I'm going to zero in on the fretting hand here so you can get a close look. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now compare that to the same chords, but I'm going to use the different fingering of the G with my ring, middle, and pinky fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now if you look at the movement there, you can see on the first way I fingered that G, from the G to the C, moving my fingers a lot. I have to really scramble them up and move them a long way. Whereas the second way, when I go from the G to the C, these fingers here on the 6th and 5th strings are just moving over one string and back again. It's a nice, easy, smooth, efficient move. So this is a better fingering of the G in this case. On the other hand, let's say you're going from D to G instead. So here's an example, just going from D to G and back to D again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now in that case, since I'm going from a D to a G, it works better to use this fingering of G with the middle, index, and ring fingers, because in both the D and the G, my index finger is staying around the 2nd fret. It just has to move over a couple strings. So that helps keep me kind of in position during this move. Whereas if I went from D and then played a G this way, I really have to move all my fingers to do that. Less efficient, not as good a move. So in that particular progression, this fingering of G is a better choice. But an even better way to play that progression would be the 4-finger version of G. So check it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now what's nice about that is that my ring finger is just staying in place there on the 3rd fret of the 2nd fret, on the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, on the D to the G and back again. So I've got that nice anchor during the move. The other thing that does is it creates a common tone over these chords. That D note on the 2nd string is going to ring through all those changes, which is a nice musical effect to have. And by the way, if you were going from G to C as we did in the first set of examples, you could also get a similar effect by leaving your pinky in place on the first string when you go to the C and when you go back to the G. So again, you get that common tone sort of effect.